What's up, everybody? First of all, I want to thank our sponsor. We picked up a sponsor this week and so forth after having, I think we're close to 61 subscribers right now.
Yeah.
Almost 300 and plus views. Thank you very much for everybody that's tuning in and subscribing to watch us two tell stories that have, well, three of us tell stories that have no, no reference or no, concept behind them, just to tell a story. But we've been picked up by Joey Puccio's Pizza, Pasta, Bagels, and Sanitation Emporium out of Hemlock Farms, Pennsylvania. So thank you to Joey Puccio and your Pizza, Pasta, Bagels, and Sanitation Emporium, where your motto is, if you haven't had our pizza, you're probably better off. So big shout out to Joey, and thank you to him. You guys all know Joey Puccio. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
So what's going on? How's everybody's week?
Good. So far, so good.
Pretty good week for the Meez podcast.
Let's say, yeah. We're breaking records.
Who would have knew? Breaking records.
Yeah, it's a second episode, and we got a
It's amazing why anybody would watch us when they could just hang out with us on any weekend night and see the debauchery. So this week's episode, we're going to talk about some random things, tell whatever comes to mind. And just so everybody knows, this is unscripted. This is just, I had an idea. I brought it up to Oleg, and as usual, we're usually on board with whatever we come up with, good, bad, or indifferent. And here we are doing a podcast, just telling stories. And Mike Spade is our Diddy of the podcast.
I don't know about Diddy. I'm more like the Dr. Dre.
He's the producer, man.
More like Dr. Dre.
So that's it. So Mike Spade's just over there to throw out random things when it comes down. So. This week's episode, again, was, we're going to talk about death row meals and what some crazy and awkward last death row meals were. We're going to talk about that guy we hate in the kitchen. There's always one guy in the kitchen coming up that just is a know-it-all and so forth. And, we always, in the kitchen, you're always screwing around and so forth. It just makes the day go faster. One thing I got for you, Oleg, is what makes what gives you, when can you call yourself a chef in the industry? Is it the guy coming out of culinary school that just wants to come in and run a line and thinks he's able to do what he could do, or is it the guy that's started in a dish pit and came all the way up and earned his bones? What is it to you?
It definitely has to be somebody that earned their way up. I don't think culinary school has anything to do with it. Culinary school, great later on, but not in the beginning of your career. Like, I never went to culinary school. I've been cooking most of my life. But in my culinary journey, I started out washing kale for a juice company. It's one of the things to get back into the industry. So I've definitely built my way up from nothing all the way up to being a chef and running an operation. So I've done a little bit of everything that way.
Yeah, definitely.
In order to, in my opinion, for you to be considered a chef is if you're running a kitchen or a operation, food truck or anything like that, and you have other people that answer to you, or at least working with you side by side. Otherwise, everybody else is just a cook. We're all cooks.
Yeah, man, you got to start somewhere, and that's why we call these, stories from the dish pit, because it's just, where you start from, and as the GOAT, as we refer to him, it's Anthony Bourdain. Like you said, the greatest things I learned in the dish pit, and I put a post up tonight that said, basically the same thing. It was a memory that came up, and it's just like, that's where you become the mayor. You learn everything about everybody from the dish pit, and you get to earn your bones a little different if you come up that way, where you start in dish, you start in prep and everything, and you work your way up. I always found it easier to be able to run a brigade or anything like that, especially up here in New York, because New York's a different animal. No matter where you worked, how many years you've had, I think working in New York, it's a different type of mentality you have to have being able to work.
No, the
up
way I
there.
always felt like is like once you get out of the kitchen, kind of lose the title. That's what even like you keep mentioning Bourdain. Even he himself said it during while shooting No Reservation. He said like I used to be a chef. He's like I'm not a chef anymore. I'm hardly even a cook anymore.
Yeah.
He's like now I'm just I'm traveling. This is what I do now. So like I'm a mechanic now. I used to be a chef.
We all do what we do. You know, I'm corporate now for many years, and still, you know, I don't get to cook as much as I'd like. But, you know, still those times I get to spend, you know, chopping onions or mushrooms just to get you back to that basic thing. That's where we all come from, and I think that's what I mean is you know we all start off as cooks, but you're not going to come into a restaurant and be able to run a team, you know, with no experience, you know, and culinary school doesn't teach you that, you know, shit, I'm, you know, old now and I'm still paying off loans from friggin' culinary school, you know, and I can tell people these days, I'm like, you know, when they say, oh, my son wants to become a chef or my son wants to get into the industry, just send him into a restaurant, man. Get him into a pizzeria, have him scraping, you know, sheet pans, get the dough off of sheet pans like we
Nobody
did
wants to
back in
do
the
that
day.
anymore.
No, nobody does, and that's why it's different these days because, you know, like I say, when we came up, or when I came up at least, you know, and all these stories are just from experiences. But I can guarantee you, a lot of the things that we talk about and a lot of the things that we say, once the word starts getting out, there's other chefs all over the world that have experienced 90% of the things that we have, you know. You know, we've all partied, we've all done clopins, we've all drank fucking beers out of the out of the back of the. Well, I knew at one place we worked at, we used to keep the Tecates in the back of the employee bathroom in the tank because every time you flush it would get cold. So whenever we had to rotate out, you know, somebody would go to the employee bathroom, bang back a beer, and then come back and on saute, and the next guy would go and so forth. You know, things like that do happen. That's just how it is. I just think it's just the industry that makes us, you know, who we are. Yeah. We'll edit that. Anyway, so I got somebody that sent us a message, and they wanted to know what's it actually like when you send something back in the restaurant. So, from your experience, what's it like when somebody sends something back, especially if they have an allergy? So, let's say if it's a steak on a plate and so forth, and they have a gluten allergy or whatever the case may be, but you know it can't be on the plate. What do we do?
Now, is it a legitimate allergy or is it pretend allergy?
Well, we never know. To us, it's always pretend because, you know, in the kitchen on the line, we're like, oh, bullshit, you know. Half the time, people don't like, you know, olives, but then they want the oil and vinegar dressing, you know.
Right.
If they send it back, you gotta redo. You gotta do it properly. But depending on the place and depending on how busy it is, we've always found a way to either redo it or reserve it in a different way that it looks different.
So what you're saying is fix it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, 90% of the time, we're fixing it. Because it's happening in the middle of a rush. Mm-hmm. We know it went out right because you wouldn't be on that station or handling that on a Friday night if you couldn't do it the right way. So sometimes you just have to, we do a lot of things to appease customers. You know, and that's how it is in the industry. It's just, you know, sometimes I've just taken the same steak that was, you know, they said, oh, I need to bring it up a little bit more and just sit it in the pass and put new mashed potatoes on it and send the thing out, you know?
So, wait, I have a question. So, with that being said, that means that what? The customer is always right? Or is it?
In the restaurant industry, for me, yeah, 100%. Because what am I going to sit there and I learned this, and I'm a big arguer. You guys know me, man. I got a voice. I'll speak my mind, you know. And it used to be that chef in the kitchen that would be like, "Oh, what are you freaking kidding me?" This and that, and then you just realize just to put it back out because yeah, they are right, you know. And yes, it does suck that the servers get 20% of the tip when the kitchen don't get nothing. That's facts too. I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, but then the cooks get the servers. So
yeah, well, that's what it is. You know, there's folks not for guys like I said. I don't work the line no more. But yeah, there's a whole thing. There's a whole other theory behind the line cooks and the servers and the hostess and so forth. not just those smiley teeth when you want to get French fries.
Huh. So that means so you guys. So what you're saying is you guys should have the servers throw something at you.
Oh,
just cause.
Look, in a perfect world, that would be great, but.
How often would
you know
that
how it
happen?
is, yeah, man. It would be awesome to be able to get tipped out because, listen, let's be honest. Your server provides a great benefit to you and everything, and catering to you. But it's the guys in the back that are humping and giving
Right.
you your food that you like. The server just came over, smiled, and that's that, and got you drinks. So I love all the servers and everything. I get it, and that's not a huge topic to get into. But yes, being old school. I wish the guys in the kitchen got a bone because they're the ones doing all the work, bro. That's what it comes down to, honestly. Oh my God, we're gonna get so much shit for this.
It's okay. It's all right. Listen, these are stories from the
sitting
district.
there like, oh my God, I'm not moving right now. Nobody could see me.
I know way too many servers. They're going to stab me. Anyway, so our topics for tonight.
So, couple of things. So we went through what was last meals. You researched some famous last meals and what they were and behind them. What's the most awkward last meal request that you found? This is from Death Row, and it's probably been done a 1,000 times and so forth. But we wanted to see it from our view, and it was a good topic to bring up. So, what's the most awkward Death Row request you found?
The oddest request I recall was, I believe, somebody asked for either a clump of dirt or a plate of dirt, and in turn they couldn't give him that, and they gave him a cup of yogurt instead.
Yeah, James Edward Smith, I think that was. But don't hold me to that because I'm looking on everything on the interweb. But it might be. And they gave him yogurt. Like, no, you can't have dirt. But here's some yogurt.
How is yogurt substituted for dirt, though? Like,
Well, what are they going to give him? Chocolate pudding?
I mean, dirt.
Stephen DeVito, if you watch this friggin' grumpy, I put up a post. I was like, yo, what's everybody on Facebook? I'm like, what would be your last meal? Mine was like pasta and peas, because it just brings me back to a simpler time. And if I'm going to go, that's, how I wanted to remember wherever I go. He says pudding. Pudding. And his response was,
To each their own.
goes out like it goes in.
Wow. Okay. Good job, Grumpy.
Amazing.
I don't know. There was somebody else that had an olive. I put it up on Facebook. Let me see if I can find the comments on it. Give me a second. On what people's last pork parmesan.
Pork Parmesan? What's pork Parmesan?
So pork parmesan comes from a few years ago from our Christmas party, our friends party,
Okay.
and pork parmesan was on the list of entrees. And I said the same thing that you did. I said, what the fuck is pork parmesan? And made a big deal about it. So now every year at this said Christmas party, I'm like, is there pork parmesan? And somebody just commented on the page, pork parmesan.
Nice.
And that's what their last meal would be. No, it's funny. So we had some good things. We had a whole smoked pig until I explode. That was from Skip. White Castle, beef Wellington, stuffed cabbage. You like stuffed cabbage? Yeah. You're from like the Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Ukraine. Right?
It's food from the motherlands.
You were involved with Chernobyl, right? What'd you do? What happened with that? How were you involved with? He was involved with TikTok last episode. Now he's involved with Chernobyl. Chernobyl.
It was 100 miles away from my hometown. It was a good 2-hour drive, and you were there. That's why I had to get evacuated.
Oh, wow.
I really did.
Yeah,
Great story.
That's crazy.
First time he ate mushrooms.
not the first.
So anyway,
last meals. Like I said, mine would be pasta and peas. We got orecchiette or the Guidos. Orecchiette with broccoli and sausage. This guy, 28 dry-aged porterhouse. Friggin' Joey Puccio from Joey Puccio's Pizza, Pasta, Bagels, and Sanitation Emporium said that it would be his homemade pizza, of course. That's all I got. Home cooked meals by mom, Stephen DeVito with pudding. I don't know. What else you think? What would be a good last meal?
I don't know, but you definitely got to put some MSG on top of it. Because
Oh.
if it's your last meal, you got to load up all the flavor you possibly can. Like, load up all your taste buds, make it to, like, really flavorful. You got to, if it's your last meal, you got to go all in.
You'd want to go all out, but you see, I don't see the whole concept with giving somebody all that food if it's their last meal. I mean, listen, you're there for a reason. You know, it's not like, you know, it's not an award show. You know, you're in this position because you put yourself in that position. So why are you getting fed all this? I heard there's now like a $25 limit in some places, which if they're going to DoorDash this shit, they're not getting nothing but McDonald's for half these people, which in my opinion, that's what they should get.
But even if you are door dashing a small order, you sprinkle a little bit of MSG on top, and it goes a long way. It's cheap.
So is that how it is? Every drive-through just has MSG. It's just sitting there, and it on
Makes
those
it better,
special occasions.
yeah.
How does that work out? Like, how do you order food for like a last meal? Like, are they ordering these things? One guy had, it was like a $300 last meal, and they got him all this stuff, and then he was like, "Yeah, I don't want none of it."
Well,
He's so mad.
That was for prisoner Lawrence Russell Brewer. His thing was that he requested a large and expensive last meal, but Brewer did not eat any of it, stating that he was not hungry. So imagine that.
Fucking guy.
Imagine spending even $100 on food for somebody.
So what happens to that? Were the guards just like,
It's up for grabs.
"I want the potato"?
Somebody's got to take
The
something.
guards and the warden break it up. In a couple other cases, the warden would actually sit down with the person who had the last meal, so it would work out great for him. You know, he would every time he would have a different night's last meal.
But it makes you wonder, though. Your last meal is with the warden. In the warden, his dinner is going to be with the prisoner.
He's the.
It's either that or his wife. Like,
Okay, all right. To each their own, I guess.
He doesn't want to be with any of them. So, BB, Oleg. If you guys don't know, I'll call him BB throughout. That's just BB. It's a name. What was the most awkward place you worked? Did you ever have a job that was just weird?
I worked a lot of different weird jobs. How weird you want to go?
I know I worked at a place in Florida. I won't say the name. And it was this type of place where you got your paycheck and you had to go to the bar to get it cashed, because if you didn't go to the bar in the restaurant to get it cashed, you weren't getting paid that week. Yo, we do stuffed clams out of these giant clamshells, and they used to send the clamshells through the dish machine. Shit you not. And wash them and then restuff them and send them out.
Oh,
this
shit.
place was so gritty, they had a funnel out back behind the line. You'd go outside. That's where we had to go pee, because we got to go into the dining room or into the main bathroom to pee. That's how gritty this place was. So that was just awkward. That was crazy, and just a ill experience, man. And just, what was a gritty place that you worked at?
Not naming names. It was a paleo gluten-free restaurant.
Right there, I would have
catering place.
Done.
I really needed a job, and
Been out.
when I got hired, it was me, a dishwasher, a sous chef, the owner, and as the time went on, the sous chef got fired, the dishwasher left, and then ended up being just me and the owner. And I had to do everything. I had to wash the dishes, I had to cook the meals, I had to package the meals, and do everything I possibly could. And that was by far the smallest and grittiest operation I've been in, because I've been in operations where I've been in one of the 50 cooks on the line, and having a tiny little catering operation like that, that's got to be the smallest and worst
But
thing.
you only got the paycheck of one, right?
Unfortunately, I did the job of everybody else, but I got the paycheck of one. That's why I only lasted there a short while, and I had to quit because I couldn't do it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, but that's what I hate about the industry, man. You know, because it's always about, it's just, I never understood that that's not my job, or I'm not going to do that whole concept.
It was
you know? And
always
I think
promises like, "Oh, it'll get better," but it
well,
never
yeah,
did.
but still, even if one guy banged out, we still made it happen. It was never none of that, you know, I'm not going to do it. We just made it happen. I watched 3 cooks one night get arrested, you know, at the tree across the street from the restaurant we were at because they went out on break and they were banging back beers, you know, on the street in Manhattan. I watched it, and then we had to figure out how to run a line on a Friday night with friggin' fry, saute, and grill gone, and just, you know, me, the sous chef, and the chef, and we're both looking at each other like,
Well then,
everybody's getting grilled cheeses tonight, you know? Yeah, man, but I think that's all I got for tonight. I mean, you guys got any more questions? Anything that we didn't cover? Anybody wanted to hear?
you're taking a trip.
I am taking a trip. So check it out. The Boca Raton St. Mark's Church Greek Festival. This is my 7th or 8th year doing it. And we go down and we volunteer. And it's just an amazing thing. We're going to do a live feed from there. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best Greek festivals. If you've ever been to a Greek festival on the East Coast, because everything on the East Coast is different than everywhere else, this is the best festival on the East Coast. It's in South Florida. It's phenomenal. It's just an amazing time. So check out the next couple of podcasts. We'll have some live remotes from over there, and we'll show you some, we'll show you the behind the scenes of how it goes down over there. And that's that. That'll be from January 26th, sorry, to the 29th or 30th. I'm not sure, whatever that Sunday falls on. But that's about that. Yeah, man. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for reminding me.
No problem.
BB, anything else?
No, nothing here.
Oh, yeah, Dixon, we love your flannels, so you should make some chef gear. See, we got it back here. Check it out.
Not sponsored.
Not
But if
sponsored.
you were willing to
But
sponsor,
if you're willing and you're watching, I mean, hey, you know, we'll take every break, you know, get into the culinary gear. Excellent. Guys, I'm done. This was Meez and Podcast. Again, I'm Chef. This is Oleg. That's Mike Spade. We have no idea what we're doing, but it's a lot of fun doing it. So we'll see you next week.